right. I'm going to call this August 1st meeting of the Mount Airy Town Council to order. Let's start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first off, the mayor is going to swear in our new police chief, and the mayor is setting a new dress code standard for future council meetings. In reality, he has an event he has to go to right after this.
Doug, if you'll raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I, Douglas Wayne Reitz, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I, Douglas Wayne Reitz, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland and support the Constitution and laws thereof.
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland and support the Constitution and laws thereof.
And that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully,
And that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Chief of Police of Mount Airy, Maryland Police Department.
without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Chief of Police of the Mount Airy, Maryland Police Department,
According to the Constitution and laws of this state and the laws of the town of Mount Airy, Maryland.
according to the Constitution and laws of this state and the laws of the town of Mount Airy, Maryland.
Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you.
Debbie wants you.
No way that says Rockenberg.
Says that about as much as my signature says Peter Held. All righty.
All right.
Yes. All right. We have no speakers on the agenda. We have no presentations on the agenda. Let's move on to approval of the council meeting minutes. We have the July 5th minutes. I move that we approve them. I think I saw Bob giving us a second there.
Yes.
Any discussion, or when I read them, I didn't see anything. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Gentlemen,
All right.
I'm going to remind you about the microphones. I keep getting people tell me that we get these microphones here and then we lean back in our chairs, so just please be aware they can't hear us on the TV.
All right, let's, Trooper Horner, right?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Trooper Warner of the Resident Trooper Program, here to give you a brief overview of last month's statistics. We had a total of 131 traffic stops, total of 12 arrests, 310 calls, with only 5 of them being outside of the town limits to assist the sheriff's office or the fire department outside of town. We had a total of 15 reportable collisions, as well as 18 non-reportable minor collisions, and took a total of 17 criminal investigative reports and 8 incident reports.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Just a comment, we had a stop sign knocked down on Buffalo Road. I think it was done on purpose. A stop sign is a very important sign to have up. If somebody runs through that stop sign, causes an accident or injury, it can be very dangerous. Maybe you can comment on just a little bit how dangerous that is for somebody to purposely knock a stop sign down.
I can say exactly you put it, is very dangerous, and particularly I believe the stop sign you're speaking of is right there prior to the park
Right.
as well, so you got a lot of kids, and it's there for a reason, so if anybody sees anybody knock down a stop sign or anything, give us a call, that way we can find out what's going on.
Good.
Councilman Phoebus, was that the solar?
Yeah.
Oh, it was the solar one.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
so I
was
got
a
your
solar
email
one.
and I didn't
It's
put
very
it together.
expensive stuff.
It was there, it was recovered.
Yeah, it was recovered and put back up today.
Brian didn't say it was busted, so.
I think it just got knocked over.
Huh?
It's the second time that sign's been down, and he did recover and put it back up. It's a sign.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for telephone.
And for the first time ever, here is our premier, Mount Airy Police chief report.
Good evening. Chief Doug Reitz, the Mount Airy Police Department. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As you can imagine, it's been a flurry of activity for me over the past 2 weeks. And of course, I can give you an update on basically a lot of meetings that I was involved in. There's a lot of meetings going on, a lot of looking into different things as far as records management systems, policy and procedure manuals, allocation of equipment and patrol vehicles and facilities management type issues. To start with, on the first morning, July 18th, I did have a brief staff meeting with the town personnel here, and I have to comment, I think these guys are great. I think Mount Airy is very fortunate to have a lot of good employees here and people working in the town like they do. As all the places I've met, I would hold them up to anybody, so I think we have a great staff here. On July 22nd, I had a couple meetings. I met with the Frederick County State's Attorney's Office as well as Frederick County Courts, District Courts personnel in Frederick County at the court complex. That afternoon, I had a training webinar with Lexipol, which is a sole source provider for risk management, and they create state-specific policies and so forth for police and law enforcement agencies. July 26th, I attended several meetings. We had some walkthroughs of some prospective locations to set up a temporary police department. I also had a meeting with the county's public safety agency regarding police communications for Mount Airy. On the 27th, I also had several meetings. I met with the director of the Maryland Police Training Commission and training over in Sykesville to discuss some of the issues with the department to get us up and running. I also met with Chief John Hess of the Manchester Police Department because they just recently, or they are in the process of building a new police station in that town as well, so I went up there for some pointers for us. On the 28th, I attended the Carroll County Drug Task Force Advisory Board meeting and also attended the Carroll County Chiefs of Police Association meeting at Sykesville Police Department, and also we had a demo there with the Sykesville Police Department. They're looking at going to a new records management system, which we will also have to have one as well. And several of the county departments here are already on a system called Interact. So I think it would be something that's good for our department to be involved with too. That way there's uniformity in reporting and so forth. We even also participated in the Mount Airy Fireman's Parade, which was very nice, and met with a Boy Scout for my first interview, I guess, as chief here. And on the 29th, I had a walkthrough at the Emergency Operations Center in New Windsor. So just to highlight some of my activities, again, I started researching records management systems and the risk management policy and procedures with Lexipol. We began researching patrol vehicles and so forth, what we're looking at going to. And I met with a couple prospective officer candidates as well as working with Holly Macaluso for the position of our administrative assistant. So that was basically a recap of my first 2 weeks here. So does anybody have any
Sounds
questions?
Awesome.
Sounds
Great.
good.
Secondly, I think this is probably, and I hope everybody received my email last night. I know I kind of fired it off kind of late, but before we move forward, I think one thing I need to get nailed down, or we need to get nailed down, is what our manpower allocation is going to be, so I can start making plans for the department and so forth, because there's going to be a lot that I need to know that's going to depend, what we do will depend on what the manpower is. So would that be possible to have a discussion with that at this point? So.
Basically, I think everyone knows the issues. I also sent a follow-up email. We are required by the Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance to have 10 police officers. We've actually tentatively approved at least one development based on the fact that we would be bringing 10 police officers on board. That being said, I looked to Tom for guidance, but I don't think that particular development will come on board for a couple of years. At the very least, I think we have to look at 24-hour staffing, which would probably mean a minimum of 7. So I would ask the council to consider anything between 7 and 10 officers. I think that the chief's recommendation would probably be to at least start with 7 and then phase the other officers in, maybe 1 a year or something like that, if that was your choice not to go to the full 10. If you look at the cost, we can give you exact figures, but I think you'll find 10 officers will be about equal, take out the capital cost of what we're gaining within 2 years. They'll be about equal to what we're paying now, even at 10 officers, so no increase in cost. So it's a council decision, and if you need any more information for us, I'm sure it's something you want to think about, let us know.
Let's run it around the table. Ken or Scott?
The only question I was going to ask is, I know we were looking at piggybacking off of a vehicle for the county for
Right.
police.
Right,
Is-
piggyback on the state contract.
State contract. So with the state contract, is there a discount or price break based on if we get 7 vehicles versus 10? What is the cost ratio difference? If there's
Okay,
something
so that's something
that we
to
go to
study.
10, all of a
Right.
sudden it's like, well, the cost isn't that much more to get to 10. It makes sense to do it now versus buy 3 more later and the
Mhm.
cost is going to be a lot more.
They won't
Nice-
all get
nice
vehicles
question,
though,
'cause I
will they?
haven't thought about
What's that?
Well, I mean, if we have 10 officers, we would buy 10 vehicles, I'm assuming.
Right.
We'd buy
Actually,
10
I think
vehicles?
that's the
I
plan.
always thought you would,
No, I think that
I don't
was-
know what we,
I
that's
don't
what
know.
I'd want to know is what, how
I'm
many
relying
vehicles
on
we
Doug to
buy.
let me know those things.
I think that was one of the discussions we had. Certainly, it's up to council approval, but to attract officers, you generally do supply a vehicle. We will have a limit to driving those vehicles. As you know, I put a limit on the state police, and we'll do the same for our own officers. But to attract good officers, that is something you generally offer and something that we would look to offer unless the council says differently.
Well, I
But
mean,
that's a
same
very
thing-
good
could we
question.
do the
It's
same
a
thing
very good
beside-
question, Scott.
Besides just the vehicles, I mean, you parts, things break down. Same thing with uniforms, weapons,
Sure.
infrastructure, et cetera. So I mean, all of that across the board, that'd be something I'd want to know
Smart.
just from a dollar perspective.
So we can
Right.
evaluate that. It's just not the cost of the officers. Good point.
Right. Yeah, certainly I can get that information together for everybody.
Ken, Bob, Bob?
The question I
Okay.
would have on the same line is, the order vehicles, is there a time frame you have to order to have them by, say, first of the year?
Well, it depends on when we're looking to go operational. I can tell you from my experience with doing this, building a police car, it's not a quick thing. You have to go through the dealerships, which they are ordered, and then they're built, and then they go to an outfitter where all the police equipment's put in them. You're talking a several-month process. It's from the cars I have built previously. It's been up to a 6-month process to have them completely
That's
finished.
what my question was, but you're gonna have to get some ordered pretty
That's a
soon.
good point. With that in mind, that maybe, at the very least, if the council's gonna lean towards 7, let's get 7 cars ordered.
And I think likewise, what I just heard out of Ken, which again goes to the question besides the price break, is that if we know when the transition date is, i.e. when we're gonna finally stop with state police, et cetera, that overlap, you need to back off of that. All those dates that you need something,
Mhm.
selection of officers, et cetera. So I would wanna know what is the date that you expect to actually put in the purchase. If you tell me, well, 6 months from now, you wanna end up having 7 officers, and essentially you're telling me within the next week, you better have it done.
Mhm.
Well, and
Well,
it's
right.
kind of caught in it because we need some guidance on how many officers you want to go with.
Right, I need to know, right,
Understand.
I need to know how many we're gonna have, so I know how to start planning if this is going to be a phased-in process, or if we're going to have 10 guys straight out the gate. It's gonna allow me to do some different things.
Yeah.
You know, if we elect to go on the lighter end, you know, we will have to work with probably our allied law enforcement agencies in the county to maintain 24-hour coverage here in town.
So let me ask this, what is the absolute event horizon date that we have right now?
There is none.
So if, I'm just hypotheticals, if things don't line up, we don't do anything, then there's
Just
really
give us,
no-
how about this? But we can't get down in the weeds too far. We need a general idea. We're offering 7 to 10 officers. What is your general, good point on the, we'll get you those, but give us a general idea where you're at. This is not a firm commitment, but gives us an idea where to go. 7 to 10.
Bob?
Bob is good with 7 to 10.
Yeah,
7 to
10.
10.
Doug, I'll go with whatever your recommendation is. I mean, you're the guy who knows this stuff.
Right.
If you think going to 7 and then slowly working to 10 is the best policy, well, okay. If you think we should go 10 right off, or maybe if you think we need 11 or 12, let us know.
Okay, well, at this
That's-
point, I think if we're looking at a phase-in, we could certainly start with 7 and work our way to our ultimate goal. by hiring several officers down the road. But with 7, we probably would rely upon the sheriff's department at times for additional coverage to assist, because it takes a 24-hour rotation. It takes a bare bones minimum of 5 guys to run that, and that doesn't include vacations or sick leave, or it doesn't include training, personal leave, court time, all the other factors that go into that.
So again, to Peter's point, and this, I'm fine with 7 or 10, but I'm just gonna ask you, what is your preference? If today you were gonna come to us, which you are, and saying, I wanna
Right.
end up doing something, what
Well-
would you recommend?
Well, I think it all depends on what your views are of how we implement this.
They actually want your view.
If you want-
We've turned around and
I
said,
can
tell
tell you.
us what you want.
I can tell you, if I would have 10 guys, it would be a lot easier to run a 24/7 rotation.
So you would desire 10
I would
troopers,
ultimately
right off the
desire
bat?
10 officers right
Okay.
off the bat.
Then that's fine
I'm
with
fine
me,
with
10.
10.
I'm fine with 10.
Okay, so we got
That's,
2.
that's all I needed.
We haven't heard from Ken.
No, 10's fine, but I'm using your recommendation wherever you need.
Bob, you're 7 to 10, you back
I'm
to 10?
I'm 10.
You got a
If-
unanimous
If that's
10.
what,
Yeah.
if that's what you need.
That's what I would
Well,
need
it's
to.
not only what he needs, it's what our ordinance calls for.
Right.
I think that's what his desire was, and I think we all
All
just
right.
said
You
we're
got a
fine.
unanimous 10, you got some guidance.
Thank you.
All right.
Again,
Thanks.
this council make things happen. All right.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you, I have another event to attend, gentlemen.
Have a good
All right.
time.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right, Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company, Bruce. I felt so bad for the weather. I got up to the carnival a couple nights, but
You mean our 3-day carnival?
yeah, I got to. Well, I made it Monday on the heat night, and I was up there
yeah.
Tuesday because you can only get fried Oreos in town, very few times of the year.
Unless you have your own deep fryer, Peter.
I don't do it myself, so I go get professional ones.
Oh, okay. Well, let me give the report first. For the month of July, rescue calls, we had 78 in Carroll, 62 in Frederick, 3 in Howard, 1 in Montgomery, for a total of 144. Fire calls, we had 20 in Carroll, 11 in Frederick, 1 in Howard, none in Montgomery, for 32, which resulted in 98 calls for service in Carroll, 73 in Frederick, 4 in Howard, 1 in Montgomery, for 176 calls. And as you mentioned, everyone's aware, our carnival didn't quite have the weather we had hoped for. We had heat, we had rain, and then we had torrential rain. I guess the only thing we didn't have was pestilence. But anyway, it was the best it could be, and of course, that's always a chance you take with the weather. And we'll be analyzing our finances and making adjustments as necessary based on that. But at this time, the numbers are still out. And we'll see how it goes, but we think we'll be okay with what happened. But it was disappointing, both in terms of not only the money, but also the availability of the carnival to the community, and also all of the personnel that put their time and work into expecting to have a week-long event, and then have, unfortunately, to have this happen. But that's the chance you take. So we'll move on.
Thanks, Bruce. Any questions? All right, thanks. Community concerns, citizen comments. If we have anybody who wants to address the council on any issue, this is your time. Come on up and line up on the wall and walk up to the podium. Amethyst and Larry, okay.
Tag team.
Is this together? You 2 things or 1 thing or?
There's so much crossover.
Okay.
Amethyst Timok, I live at 708 South Main Street. I am here to speak about 2 upcoming events for the town of Mount Airy. One is August 27th. It's called Let's Celebrate Mount Airy. It's a new event. It's on the agenda in a little bit for a street closure. I did not realize that. The main, other than to make everyone aware about this new street festival, it will have Dale Korn. He's a 17-piece big band. We'll bringing in a dance floor, and we're having every business in town include, as long as they are brick and mortar somewhere in town, they are invited to set up for free on the main street. What I really need to ask is, it was their idea to do open container on the main street, which is new for us. But the way the town code is written, we would need special authorization from the council and the mayor to make that happen. They can do a traditional beer garden, but what we found is when the beer garden is one location, it tends to centralize all of our guests, and the lower half of Main Street feels as if no one really makes their way down there. So we're just trying to be fair to other businesses with that open container.
To give the council a little background, I became aware, Amethyst raised this with me, I guess Friday in an email, and we came to realize that while it's banned on the town streets, the council and the mayor do have the ability to pass a resolution to sort that out. When she contacted me initially, the thought process was beers, beers, and brats, which is not till October. So I passed the email to Tom and said, hey, draft a resolution, it'll be on next month's agenda, because beers, beers, and brats is until October, so we have plenty of time to deal with it. Then tonight, after I got here, I just learned that there was this other event, which may want to do it between now and then, and obviously Tom doesn't have a resolution drafted.
We have submitted the liquor application to Carroll County for this event, showing both formats. Open container, Carroll County only started approving these last November. We attended a chili cook-off in Sykesville using this format. I know it sounds like debauchery and running amok down the streets, but it really was. It was very well contained. It gave people the ability to use the beer garden or kind of do a little bit of a pub crawl to each restaurant, which is something Ben Gu and the other organizers are considering, rather than just doing a full beer garden, creating some kind of group, like, I don't know, like a ticket or system with the other bars and restaurants to try and encourage you to go to and from. What Joe Vance at the liquor board did look at our ordinance and said, number 4 on the town ordinance, technically, even though we're having beer gardens in what's considered private property, as soon as we open it to the public and invite the public, it's actually in violation of our ordinance. Just to put it out there.
Okay.
So regardless, we
Scott?
have to redraft the ordinance. The question I have, Amethyst, not that I have a problem with the idea, I mean, I've seen it used before. Have you already addressed or looked into how you would contain it within our area? Because there's multiple egresses and ingresses.
Yeah, so, and Sykesville has the same problem. There's a lot of alleys and such. You can't monitor every entrance and exit. What you do monitor is how liquor sales are done. So if we have a specific cup, I know with Chili Cook-Off, they were contained, so you would give them the can or glass so people could just openly walk. The liquor board had suggested when we last year for beers, and brats, that you have a specific cup, and then people you do community monitoring. Of course, the north and south entrances of the main street we have barricaded, and for parking purposes and for flow of traffic, we always have somebody stationed there, so they would monitor people coming in and out with their containers, and just you got to leave that here. But it is a little bit of self-policing on all those other areas. I would hope that a group of adults aren't going to go drink on York in a corner.
But I just wanted to, I guess signs or something like that, just saying, here's the boundary.
Yeah.
You can't go past this, because, next thing you know, people are going to go sit in the municipal lot and be like, oh, I'm just talking.
Right. No. Good point.
So that was my only thought. Thank you.
Okay. So if we can actually, if you guys could consider it, and if it's something available for the 27th, that would go with Ashley.
Tom, how long would it take, if it's something that we even considered tonight that we wanted to do, to change it? Is it a vote now to change it if we do it, and then it can go into effect prior to the 27th?
Or can we just do an oral resolution? Is there anything that says that's, from the code section?
We've done that before. We've had now this is not for ordinance changes, a resolution. We've had verbal sort of emergency, if you will, resolutions passed, and then I go back and draft it, send it to Debbie, and we get it signed. And of course, she reflects in the minutes exactly what the resolution was and what the vote was. So I don't really have a problem with that.
All right. Well, then let's do
I
one
think
then.
Amethyst still wants to say
Can I just
something.
make one?
Yeah, sure.
I know this is last minute. I think if we can push this through on the 27th, that with Scott's concern, this will be a much smaller event. If we can use this as a test for our larger event in October, I think it would be a good way for us to find out where the weaknesses might be in the monitoring of an open consumption policy.
State police left, so I would ask, how many of them can end up being around in the area?
Well, I mean, the group organizers make arrangements for whatever
do
you
it,
need,
yeah.
police-wise, just like we do for any event.
Yeah, so the only other thought, and the reason I kind of looked at Bob is, and I kind of have the same fear of you, understanding an emergency ordinance, if it's really an emergency. I mean, we're doing an event, and it's not that I don't.
But it's not an ordinance.
It's not,
Or
it's just a
resolution,
resolution, right.
but regardless, pushing something through on an emergency basis.
Understand that resolutions don't require, as ordinances do, the introduction in one meeting typically.
To wait.
So we don't have any of
Yeah,
those issues.
so then, okay, so there's no.
Yeah.
So it's really not an emergency.
Right, right. You're right. You don't need that
I
4
wanted
out
to
of 5
eliminate the
deal.
emergency word.
Correct.
I don't really have a problem with the open container as much as I would with underage. So if there were bracelets,
We do. We
in
have,
addition to a cup
we
or
have
something?
official Mount Airy armbands. We
Okay.
have them in 4 different colors, depending on what we might need to do.
Okay.
And we've been utilizing them at a lot of the events.
Okay.
And that's all, it all gets submitted with the liquor board on how we police with a map of our area. And then we do, whoever's pouring, or serving alcohol is supposed to be educated.
So
I think, just one last thing, I think Councilman Strong brought up my other point of, entrances and exits in the side roads and sidewalks and everything, rails to trails and everything else. And we just have to be very, very vigilant in monitoring those entrances. I mean, I think that would be my only other concern, other than the underage stuff.
Which it sounds like, they've kind of thought about that. And I appreciate that, and it sounds like you've done some forethought in
I mean,
pulling
this-
it together.
Go
I
ahead.
see Larry up there, though, so I want to know what the cross-pollination of events is.
Well, other than just standing up here looking pretty and letting Amethyst do all the hard work, the only thing I have to add, since she covered it all, is that the October 15th event, which we're on track for, is all the proceeds that come from that go toward the caboose and the rails to trail. So that's a fundraiser. The August 27th event is an open event, and the caboose will be open on August 27th. We're not sure that we'll have electricity physically wired from the pole to it, but we're bringing in a generator. So it's Dale Korn brings a 17-piece orchestra. They'll have a nice swing dance out there. If you can't swing dance, just go do what you're going to do. So probably don't want to see Ken do anything too well. But anyway, but that's
He dances really good.
so that's all I can add. But Amethyst
Okay.
covered all the hardware of it. So.
Now, the August 27th event, what's the organization running that one?
That is a collaboration. I'm not sure what we call things when the Main Street coordinator is one of the main organizers. I don't know, because we technically.
So actually,
but
yeah,
Ben
so
Gu-
Ashley's actually,
Ben Gu approached her with the
Okay.
Lions Club, so I know they're a major contributor. I do sit in the meetings, so I think there's a learning curve with the Main Street coordinator on
Is it
what is
almost
a
like
town
economic
event and
development?
what is a town supported event.
I was just thinking in terms of language for a resolution.
Yes.
I think it's a
Um,
town
The Lions
sponsor.
Club is
Yeah.
ensuring it, if that helps, and
Okay.
I'm not sure which Lions Club that is.
All right.
Sponsored by Lions Club.
Okay.
All right,
That's
well,
the
I'm
Mount-
going to move that the council.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to move the council pass a resolution allowing the Celebrate Mount Airy event on August 27, 2016 to allow open container of alcoholic beverages in the downtown area.
Second.
Got a second from Scott. Does that language sound reasonable to you, Tom?
Yes.
For what we're doing? We've got a second. Any discussion?
Do you want to clarify downtown area, because
Well, did I say downtown area? Or did I say
municipal
downtown
parking
zone?
lot is in the downtown zone?
Well, it is, but they're gonna have to obviously cordon off some areas.
I think within the boundaries that the liquor board approves and Main Street shut off and could be
Yeah, that's a
controlled.
good idea. Within, yes,
With
that's a
the
good,
road
I would
Amethyst,
change
I
that to
think-
read
I
within
think-
whatever boundaries the liquor board approves.
And I think just for sanity's sake, just to have a map drawn to say
Yeah.
here's what the boundary is, that'd be great.
We
They
have to
they
submit
have
that
to
to the
give one
liquor board.
But I
It's-
mean, we get that.
Okay, so
It's-
that'll work, so.
It's 3 North Main Street to 200 South Main Street.
Does that also include rail yard, caboose area?
Yes.
It does
Okay.
include that in the train station.
So
Okay.
this is what was submitted. Oh, that's all. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is what we submit to the liquor board. If you just want to look, we show the perimeter. side area, the little side shoot-offs are the rail yard and the, caboose.
Well, I would just say, we put in the resolution,
Yeah.
you know, as mapped and submitted to the liquor board.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That sounds good.
I second that.
We got a second, any more discussion? You looked like you were gonna say something, Bob, and then you, okay.
No, I'm on, I'm.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Looks unanimous. Now, the code actually says mayor and council. Do we have to have the mayor do something, or when the council approves it, is it just a
Yeah, he
matter of,
signs it.
a matter of he doesn't veto it?
No, I don't think there's any means of
Okay.
vetoing a resolution, but I think that's in reference to the fact that the mayor does sign all of our
Okay.
resolutions.
One thing.
Okay.
After the 27th event, if you guys could come back for the September meeting and just give us an after action to say, here's what you found, didn't like, whatever, so that we know going into
And the
October.
September meeting will have a more formal written resolution for the beers, beards, and brats on it.
That'd be great.
Yes.
That way, if we need to change anything before October.
All right.
Every year is an adventure. I'm just gonna real quick give you a beers and brats kind of.
Are you gonna have the same area map for that?
Yes, it's
We're
the
just-
same
Tom
exact
wants
layout.
to know for the resolution.
It is the same exact
Okay.
layout,
All right.
yes. Beers and brats, just to let you know that right now, the tickets are on sale and we until October, August 15th are giving $5 to the Ellicott City Partnership for rebuilding. So I did speak with Ashley. Right now, the advertisement on our events page that'll go live tonight does say the town of Mount Airy. We agreed that the town of Mount Airy is helping their sister city. So we'll take $5 out of that because it's part of the Mount Airy Community Fund and give that to the Ellicott City Partnership. So if you were thinking of buying tickets to the event, they're normal price, but $5 will go to our sister city down the street.
Cool.
That's all I wanted to kind of let you know about that festival.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Ordinance, any other citizen comments? Okay, Dick.
Dick Swanson, 1107 South Main Street, and as a representative of the Mount Airy Main Street Association, I was unaware of this, but Amethyst said that there is a technical violation with serving alcohol, even though you may have a permit on private property, which affects the Mount Airy Main Street Association. Probably, I guess
We will give you resolutions too, Dick. when you
I
need- when you need
don't,
'em.
my suggestion is, because it's been a tradition now for 8 to 10 years, that simply that part of the code be changed, rather than adding more bureaucracy to the process.
I agree.
I would agree resolutions for open carry down Main Street or something should be required every time, but.
The beer garden part,
Pardon?
the beer garden part should be more or less grandfathered, is what you're proposing.
Yeah,
yeah.
and make the ordinance consistent with what's been going on for 8 or 10 years, because we do confine the beer garden to a specific area on private property.
And I
we-
looked at our code, and I don't know that it, I mean, it says on public or quasi-public property. You know, so are you gonna deem that as quasi-public property?
It says, or in place to which the public is invited. I think that's where Joe Vance was pointing out that because you are opening it up to the public, that it
Right.
creates that.
Well, I think Tom is taking his notes, so he's gonna look into punching up that ordinance to solve that problem.
Appreciate it.
No problem,
No,
thank you.
Sounds good. Any other citizen comments? I saw Bruce turning. I wasn't sure if he was coming back up or not. All right, ordinance is 2016-12. This is increasing the fines for failure to obey water restrictions. I will move that we accept this. I have a second.
You want it?
Go ahead.
I'll
All
second.
right, Scott.
I was
This
looking
is
at
the one we
you.
had before. Basically,
We've already
there are
talked
no
about
water
it.
restrictions
Yeah.
currently, given how much has been raining recently. We don't have any plans for any water restrictions. This was just basically, the water restriction code was passed back in like 1986, and purely by inflation, the fines have become low. So we've just basically brought the fines back into line with what the value would be today.
And this
I'm not-
doesn't
I'm not
require
sure-
a public hearing?
I'm not sure, pardon?
Does this require a public hearing?
Oh, we're already down the line with it. We're here
Okay.
we're here for adoption, so
Okay.
we brought this up last month. So, any discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Sound like everybody, Debbie. All right, unfinished business. Melissa, recommendation for website development.
Hi, so what you have here in your packets, I actually laid out on the table. Actually, I'm jumping ahead. I'm thinking about the road closure at the end. I did place an updated copy about that. But the recommendation is actually just the same as the one that was presented in July. What we had taken from the last meeting was that there was a question about making sure that we can own the site if we want to move in the future, and also letting Tom look over the document, and he has done such. And actually, we've put a copy of our email correspondence. Tom, would you like to elaborate?
No, I mean, by and large, I found the contract terms reasonable. The specific provision that I think Peter raised last time about our owning the content is there, so I'm comfortable with that. So essentially, other than what I've stated in my email, which I don't need to restate here, I found the terms acceptable.
Melissa, my only question was, do we get to keep the same URL, or does that have to change?
We keep the same URL.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think the URL.
We just renewed that, actually.
Right, because we own the domain. We're paying for the domain. It just
Correct.
maps to wherever the server's IP is.
All right, well, I will move that we accept the contract from Civic Plus as recommended in the amount of $42,870.60. Do I have a second?
You got it.
All right, I got a second from Bob. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Caboose, town ownership. This is only on here because we weren't sure how to store this in the town archives, and I suggested to Debbie that we stick it on the agenda so it will get attached to the agenda for the minutes, so that in 50 years, we'll be able to find it. So Pat has signed it, so we now officially own the caboose. And it's now here in the minutes, so if anybody ever looks for it in many years when we're all gone, they'll be able to find that.
Can I,
That.
just one comment, and it's fine that it's signed. I just didn't know if it needed to be changed at some point. I noticed that on 15.3 of 6, the email addresses and the individuals listed, if those change at some point, and I thought we set up town addresses for like the mayor, so I would just recommend it
Talking
goes
about
to
the
the
MOU.
On the MOU.
Yeah.
That's in the MOU. Now, the MOU is essentially void because it culminates in our.
So this is just for historical purposes.
Yeah, I think.
Essentially.
I wanted to make sure it
Yeah.
was with.
I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that whatever those points of contact are, that somebody
What-
has it down the road, because.
What ultimately happened is, when we were going through it, the MOU is mentioned in the deed, and so I said to Debbie, well, just so that everything's clean,
Yep.
let's get the MOU and attach it to it, so that years from now, it's all there, and if somebody comes looking for it,
Sounds good.
it's all there and they'll find it. Okay, discussion of date for September meeting.
Didn't we
thought
discuss
Bob
some we
Well,
should-
here's the issue. Not only did I, but several town staff heard from people after our last meeting, when we did it on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
And they came to, I mean, I heard from several people, and I know staff did, they came to us and said, the reason why we don't meet on Tuesdays is because the town council meetings take up all the parking on Main Street. Everything's open, and we basically suck it up, so either there's not enough parking or nothing else, which is why we have the meetings on Monday.
And if my situation has actually changed where I will either not be there or hope for another date.
Okay, so traditionally, we've always done it on the second Monday, which would be the 12th, when, in this case, September 5th is a 3-day weekend. Traditionally, we've always done the 12th and not the next day, which is the 6th. We did it the next day after the July 4th one, and we did hear some issues about it, which made sense. Even staff came to me and said, there's no parking.
Right.
So I was going to move that we move it to Monday, September 12th, 1 week later.
Peter, I would second that.
All right, any discussion?
It's fine.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we'll just try and remember that in the
One
future.
opposed.
One opposed, Ken opposes.
I won't
So-
be here.
Oh, he went. All right, okay, with street closing request for Celebrate Mount Airy. Ken, I don't know if that's, did that come through you, or is
No,
Melissa?
I'm here representing for Ashley.
Okay,
tonight. And as you heard from Amethyst and Larry, our newest event here on Main Street is Celebrate Mount Airy, and there's flyers out at the back table. It's from 5:30 to 10 here in downtown Mount Airy, and the road closure request would actually be from 5 to 11 in the evening. And the points are from Prospect on Main Street to Paradise Avenue, which is a little bit further than we're used to with road closures.
Next
That's
to-
Oh,
next
so
to
we're
the-
going all the way up to, okay.
Yep.
Calvary and the-
There will
and the
be a
little-
detour up Paradise, going to Park Avenue,
Okay.
and
That puts,
Sunset.
that puts my office in the closure zone.
Yes,
That's
it
okay,
does.
it doesn't.
And then the idea of that is to bring in those downtown businesses that are just past Hood Street, like Moxley's Wooden Bowls and Patches, Core Yoga. So Calvary, I believe, is also going to be set up with some kids' activities.
Okay,
So
sounds like a
that's
plan.
the plan for that stretch of the street. So the
And-
only, go ahead.
What's our furthest detour up the road that we're allowed?
Sunset would be the.
Okay.
I should mention.
Because I can't remember how far up we have detour signs and an approved detour route. Was it Sunset or was it Calvary? Not Calvary Street, not. In other words, we only have 2 legal approved street closure detour
Through the
routes.
state?
Yeah, one is Hood to Prospect, and the other one is, I can't remember whether it's Sunset or Calvary to Prospect, but we have it
So-
approved and we have signs.
How narrow Calvary is.
Well, I agree. Calvary's
Yeah,
Calvary's a one-way street in my opinion.
Right.
Sunset makes more sense. I just don't remember what our approved detour route was
And at
for that
this
one.
point, the state highway road closure application has been filed, but we haven't heard back from them yet
Okay.
regarding that, so we'll have to learn.
Well, I'll move that we go with, whatever the closing is that they need.
I'll second it.
Second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Mayor and Council reports. I think we have Pat's report. He's got 2 appointments. Lindy Brown, a reappointment to Planning, and John Stumeyer, reappointment to Streets and Roads. I will move that we accept both of those appointments. That looks like a second from Scott. Any discussion? All in favor of accepting the mayor's appointment, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Beautification, Parks and Rec.
All right, even with the hotter weather, the commission has continued to work on many of the parks. Most of the attention is focused on weeding of beds and ensuring the planter boxes along Main Street are cared for. The commission, in collaboration with EDC, will be working on the design for the Christmas ornament for the tree in Annapolis, and that next meeting takes place August 16th at 7 p.m. at Town Hall. For Parks and Recs, there are currently 2 Eagle Scout projects in the works. One is from Billy Robertson from Troop 1191, who is planning the benches at the Watkins baseball field, and the other is from Garrett Safston from Troop 622 that is planning benches along rails and trails. There's a movie night this Friday in the municipal parking lot. The Good Dinosaur will be showing. The movie will begin at dusk. Camp night is August 13th at Watkins Park. You can register online or call Town Hall to make your reservations. The movie for camp night is Big Hero 6. There will also be performance by Slim Harrison, and his concert begins at 7:30 p.m. The Key to the Town presentation will be awarded to another very important town citizen, and those details you have to show up to see who won. The town birthday party will take place. The town is celebrating 122 years. That is the August 27th. Thanks to, August 13th, my fault. Thanks to Mike Regal for organizing the event. And as Mr. Hushauer mentioned, the caboose will be open on August 27th from 5:30 till 10. Keep in mind that this celebration does include closures of Main Street, so just be prepared for that. Thank you to Jack and Phil Raines and Michael O'Brien, and of course his better half, Nancy, for all their help for getting the inside of the caboose for the interior. The task force for Rails to Trails is searching for grants to defray some of the costs for the caboose and the trail. Mark your calendars for October 15th. The second annual Beers, and Brats will take place in the rail yard, and proceeds will go to the Caboose and Rails to Trails. Thank you, Amethyst, for all your hard work. And the next Parks and Recs meeting is August 18th at 7:30 p.m. at Town Hall.
All right. EDC planning.
I'm going to start off with EDC and a little discussion about the farmers market that we have downtown every Wednesday, 3 to 7. This is absolutely a great market. We have live music, fresh fruit, vegetables, eggs, meat, and much, much more. Do not miss this. It is a really neat farmers market. We also have a group that's been meeting on Thursday nights, and they are the pub runners. They average about 60 individuals that are prearranging with restaurants. So they run a specific course, or in my case, I walk a specific course, and we all meet and have dinner. And it's about 60 people that we're putting in downtown restaurants, and they love it. So that's something you might want to get involved in also. EDC had no meeting in July so as not to compete with the carnival because we're so important. We're still looking at logos to select something that says Mount Airy to the commission. We haven't come across that yet. And our next meeting will be on Wednesday, August the 24th, 7 p.m. at the Mount Airy Tavern. The Planning Commission, let's see, at our past meeting, the Twin Arts Shopping Center received approval for a facelift over the next couple of months, and they got some really neat things that are going to be happening down there. The stores that back up next to Starbucks, that back up to 144, and you can't tell what stores they are from the back, we're allowing them to put signs on the back of the building, let you know the Chipotle and Quick Fire and all the other business, all those 3 or 4 businesses that are right there. Let's see. The next Planning Commission meeting will be on Wednesday, August the 10th at 7 p.m. right here. And that's my report.
So Bob, just a quick question.
Tuesday the 9th? What did you finally come up Tuesday the 9th? Okay. Change that. It will be Tuesday the 9th at 7 p.m. here. Thank you very much.
Bob, quick question. Sign ordinance, since you mentioned
We are,
signs.
Heather is working diligently to get us a date for the sign ordinance. We're probably looking at late September, early October.
Okay, I was just thinking, and I know you guys are working on it, but I guess that'll be updated to reflect things like putting signs on the backside of the building, because I know
Yeah.
right now you can't do it.
Yeah.
I told Heather that I wanted a sign ordinance, at least myself, that allowed that
Yeah,
we
because
do
right now
that.
you can't.
Right.
Because it seems, ridiculous that Chipotle can't have one that faces 27. They can
I
only face
agree.
Safeway. And
Right.
and you can't see them both from the same place.
No.
So we should allow that. I know another one that's like that is Atlanta Plaza, the top of the hill here.
Right.
You can see one side from Main Street and one side you
From
can only
Walmart.
see from Walmart.
Right.
And I don't know why they can't put signs on the back so that you could see
Well, and
them
that's
walk up from
all
Walmart.
of those issues, which are brand
Yeah.
new to us.
They-
you
but-
know.
and they should, the ordinance
And
should include that.
That's what
Scott's
she's
right.
planning on doing.
Yeah.
Every time that we have a little discussion about this, another type of sign
Comes up.
comes up.
So the other thing, in tandem with that, and knowing the ordinance is gonna come, is that at some point, Heather had said once MDX and whatever they were, the different zones, she was gonna bring some presentation. Remember, you even asked for it to say, what are the different types of signs? So that when
Absolutely.
we get that ordinance, the public and us will know what these things mean.
Right.
So just to
Well,
keep it on your radar, to
I
have that
think what
come at
actually
some point.
happened at the table is Ken said something about a sign, and then Pat said, and Peter said, and somebody else said, and I was very confused because you had a sign, the same sign had 4 different names.
Right.
Well, I went out one time and took a picture of a bunch of signs around town and told her, from what I am reading, I think this is what type of sign this is. But
Right.
they weren't all necessarily that type of sign.
Well,
She
I
was
think,
gonna put together a
Yeah.
presentation
I think
that
Lisa's
just said,
been
"Here's what
working
this
on
is."
the presentation and actually sign descriptions for us, and we're just about ready to go with
That's
Okay.
cool, great.
That's good. I'm glad
Thank
it's
you.
working.
I just wanted to make sure it
forward.
was on the
Right,
radar.
All right.
and it is.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, Scott, recycling sanitation.
All right, thank you. So mine will be pretty streamlined. Sanitation Recycling met on the 20th of this month, last month, July. Discussed a few things. They had a survey about the recycling app. So they were looking at the questions to try and figure out what types of questions they want to ask to ensure that the app covers it. Went through a couple of the different issues in the area. I know that one of the things that was discussed was that there was an incident where trash bags were thrown through the open truck and had made it to the other side, and the residents felt that the trash people were just throwing trash and not picking it up. J&J actually was very responsive, was here in the audience, and told us that sometimes it happens because both sides of the trucks are open, but they generally pick it up. And if there's any issues, to call town. But they did fix the problem, so it was just kind of that first time thing. But it was really good to see them responsive. They seem like they really want to end up taking care of the town, so hopefully we'll continue that trend. There is going to be a September shred and battery recycling event that they're going to end up getting on the calendar. So they discussed that. They're looking at the date for when that can happen. Speaking of dates for people, we have 2 yard waste collection dates for the month of August. So everybody, do not put your yard waste out until the day it's going to be collected. We've had people leave their yard waste out for a week at a time, expecting to be picked up. The dates you need to put on your calendar is the 13th and the 27th. That's the 2 days they're going to be picked up. And then the next meeting for recycling sanitation will be on the 21st of September. We do not have a meeting for October since we just had one, and it'll be at Town Hall at 7 p.m. That concludes my report.
All right. Water and sewer. Obviously, we passed tonight water and sewers ordinance, which was before us. Water and
You mean streets and roads?
Oh, I'm
Ken?
sorry, Ken. Forgive me.
It's all right, it's okay.
Streets and roads, yes. Sorry, Ken.
All right, we didn't have a meeting last month. Our next meeting is August 25th. So,
No meeting, next.
Next meeting. I was given the minutes from the last task force, if you want me to go over that while I got here from the
Sure.
grant task force. They identified 3 grants to apply for in their meeting. The daily grant to apply for money towards pavilion and a light single. The National Railroad Historical Society to apply for the pavilion and light single. And the State Highway Transportation Alternative Grant to find ways to cross Route 27. The first meeting was simply to identify available grants and how they fit the desired needs of the town and the trails and the caboose. The next meeting will be August the 4th, which is Thursday at 7 p.m. Everyone is welcome to attend. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ken. Okay, now on to water and sewer. Well, we just passed water and sewers ordinance. Water and sewers next meeting will be Wednesday the 3rd here at 7 o'clock. Topics, we always cover the fog ordinance, whether or not we want to look at selling water. We look at what our current water income is, what we're selling, and whether we need to start to look at rate change. We'll be looking at things like that. Space allocation task force. The space allocation task force on August 8th. I'm showing 7 p.m. on my calendar's meeting. Am I right, 7? I see everybody nodding. Good, I have it right on my calendar. We're meeting at the new health center. They have a very large space that they built in that for public use and for public meetings. So we're going to go take a look at that. So that'll be water and sewer and space allocation. And I guess just on a side note, I've been reappointed to the MML's convention committee. So
So you can
anybody,
plan next year.
so I'll be working on planning next year. So a couple trips to Annapolis for those meetings on Saturday mornings.
No barbecue.
Yeah, and this year, everybody get me their tickets well ahead of time so that I can make sure that we all
We
get
put us
seats
all
together.
together.
Okay, if I have the tickets, I can get us the seats. If I don't have the tickets, I can't get us.
Got it.
All right, so everybody get that, order seats. But if there's anything you liked or disliked, do you think should be changed or anything, let me know and I'll bring that up at the meetings. All right, Monica, town administrator report. All right, town attorney report, Tom.
Other than what we'll discuss in the closed session, I do not have a report.
All right, and we have a code enforcement report in there. Is there any other business? Not seeing any. I will move that the bills be paid.
I will second.
Second from
Bob.
Scott or Bob. I don't.
Bob had it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm going to move that we go into a closed meeting to consider the acquisition of real property for a public purpose and the matters directly related thereto. I further move that we go into formal adjournment as soon as that meeting is done. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
From Scott. Ken? Aye. Aye from you, Scott?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Aye. Held? Aye. Okay, so we all ayed that, so.